There's an elephant and donkey both on shaky ground, but we got the truth and we gonna shout it loud. From the healthcare to taxes, they can't hide from us. With a wink and a nod, we expose all the fuss. Educating the masses with a smirk on our face, bringing clarity to the headlines in this crazy race. From the White House to your house, we cover it all, putting humor in the facts, we're having a ball. Oh no, America, let's get real and laugh, teaching you the politics with a little bit of sass. Current events and headlines that blow your mind, only on Oh No America you'll find.
Holy cannolis, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I am so sorry. Let me start out with an apology. I am so sorry for yesterday, y'all. Okay, I had this schedule, was for Friday, and then I moved it to Monday, and then I moved it to Tuesday, and then I was like, oh, I'll do it Wednesday. Totally forgetting that I had committed to be in McMinnville. And the drive time that I took to go from the Portland metro area to McMinnville was about an hour. I could have talked to you guys then, but I was in the middle of deep convo with someone else, and then protested, and then got home, and people were like, hey, you forgot about America. And I was like, oh, I did. I absolutely did. I apologize profusely for forgetting about that. Yeah, I've been taking a few days rest, which has helped a little bit. But yeah, we're back here. We're back, baby. We're back, and we're in the chaos, y'all. So where I last left us in the middle of America is that, we were trying to read all these proclamations before shit hit the fan. But as we know, shit already hitteth the fan in a major way. Trump did the executive order to basically put a freeze and put the kibosh on all federal funds out, which immediately stopped people's access to the Medicaid portals across the country, including Head Start funding and everything else. And finally, after 48 hours of chaos, Trump had to rescind that order because it was bad news bears. But guys, this is just a taste of basically what is to come for us here. Like, you saw how fast that happened, right? He wrote an order. People's Medicaid was cut off like that. That's how fast this administration will respond to an order from, this person who's attempting, in my personal opinion, to make himself a dictator in this country. Now, if you guys have ever tried to do something along the lines of the American government before, apply for certain things, get a form filled out, hear back from a representative, hear back from a governmental agency, okay? Like all those people. For example, I used to work for a company that handled people, gave people help when they were the victims of identity theft, right? And we would get various people calling in, but one of the things that could happen, and has happened so many times, I cannot even tell you, that when a person passes away, okay, there is supposed to be a button, and there is a button, boop, at the Social Security Administration that they push that says deceased. And then basically what that does is it sends like messages to all adjacent bodies that this person is deceased. Do not allow business to be conducted in their name, right? So a lot of times, very, very old married couples are like the same exact age. Some of them even have the same birthday. And the husband passes away, but the wife was marked deceased. And she's alive. She walks into the bank and she's like, hey, Bob, hey, Mary, and talks to the bankers that she's talked to for 20 years. And they attempt to pull up her account info and they say, this says you're deceased. And her account's now frozen because her husband's dead. And she can't pull money out of the ATM or write a check Her credit cards are gone. Her credit has been wiped out because she's dead. Now imagine losing your husband or spouse and then attempting to live your life and just eke out your life. You need basic things. You need food. You need water. You need all that stuff. And now the government has marked you dead. Raise your hand if you think that getting that reversied would be as fast as getting Medicaid shut off nationwide. Oh, wait. The answer is no. I'm not going to bury the lead. That takes months, sometimes years for people to reverse. They can go into the Social Security office in person with their Social Security card in hand. Hello, this is me. Here's my ID. Here's all my birth certificates, everything. And the Social Security office says, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, there's a whole procedure we have to go through to verify that you're actually you. Can your husband come in? It is awful. But at the president's whim, Medicaid gone. Medicaid gone. For all those Trump voters who thought, oh, no, he's helping us out. He's helping us out. How did that feel for that 48 hours? How did that absolute, unabashed, unchecked power feel for those 48 hours if you couldn't get your EBT card to work, or you couldn't get SNAP assistance, or you couldn't go to the doctor or get that procedure that was already scheduled? How did that feel? I don't think it felt very good. I think it made people very, very scared. But they thought, oh, no, he's helping us out. He's going to make everything cheaper. Have eggs gotten cheaper, guys? I've only seen eggs go up in price. You know? How does a person live in the meantime? Yeah. That was we're going to go over that. We're going to go over Kash Patel today because he was specifically asked about that in the congressional hearings. It is. How does a person live in the meantime? I don't fucking know, Verity. I'll be honest with you. That's why services like the one that I worked for, which is similar, the company that I worked for, IDX, they provide those services. Like if you are a member, they provide identity theft services, and they also provide like the negotiation skills necessary to contact directly those governmental agencies to help you sort that out. But if you're trying to sort it out on your own, it is literally almost impossible to get those things sorted out. So if you aren't a member, I'm serious, guys. If you aren't a member of an identity theft recovery service in the year of our Lord, 2025, you need that. 100%. This is not sponsored by any of them. The company I worked for got bought out by ZeroFox. I know the people that answer the phones. They are good people. But I would say avail yourself of one of those services, because every single person on this planet has been involved in one or multiple, you get those emails like, oh, you're sorry, Target is sorry to report that all of our customer information was hacked. That's just a fact. Your personal information is out there in the ether in multiple places. So that's why you have to have one of those services to protect you fully in the case that somebody goes around pretending to be you. That's how that goes. But yeah, it is harrowing. And thank God for the people who work at those places to help those people out. So yeah. Yeah, Midnight. That was fucked up what they did. I cannot believe that Trump just did that and thought nobody was going to notice. Did you notice, Midnight, when that happened? Did you notice? Okay. And then today, in all of his genius, no, that's not the one I want. So, okay. As y'all know, let's just take a moment of silence here for the almost 70 people who passed away suddenly last night when a Black Hawk helicopter doing God knows what. I would love to hear Pete Hegseth's, the new Secretary of Defense's response as to why this Black Hawk helicopter was flying below radar level in a civilian area with night goggles on in the traffic line of a fucking active airport. Whose brilliant idea was that, and what are they training for? Because you only do stuff like that when you're simulating an environment for a mission. That's a pre-mission run. It's a dry run that ended up killing almost 70 people. And, on top of that, we had Russian skaters on the plane, on the civilian plane. You think Putin's not going to make a fucking stand about that? Jesus Christ, man. It's insane. Sorry. I'm going to be dripping through this whole episode, guys. So this is, no, I'm not surprised, Amy. He's absolutely doing everything he promised. 100%. He's doing everything he promised. But people who thought, it was just the border, it's just the immigration, it's just, they voted on that one thing, right? Exactly, artful colorist. It should not have been in commercial airspace. Ever. So Pete Hegseth, first day on the job. What you got to say, homie? But let's go over, let's see what our president said. Okay, let me pull this up here. Good night. This is, I just want you guys to listen to what he's saying, how he's saying it, and what the fuck does most of the beginning of what he's saying have to do with a plane crash involving civilians of the United States and some foreigners and a Black Hawk helicopter being flown by our American military. Let's go to this here. Let me pull this up. And I just want to... Yeah, here we go. I think he was in a moment of silence here at the beginning. I'm going to speed this up a little bit.
Thank you very much. I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation. Just before 9 p.m. last night, an American Airlines regional jet carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C.
Right there. That's factual statement. Okay. That's exactly what happened. Here we go.
While on final approach to Reagan National Airport.
Oh, well, let me fix this because I don't want to get this taken down by ABC. I gotta add my copyright. Sorry. Let's do this right. It's like I'm out of practice. There we go. Here we go.
Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy.
I wish you guys, he didn't even look up from the podium when he said real tragedy. I'm going to move the bunt for a moment because I want to rewind that just so you guys can see how little emotion he actually has.
Carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. while on final approach to Reagan National Airport. Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy.
Didn't even look up. Didn't even look up to make eye contact with people in the room. Here we go.
The massive search and rescue mission was underway throughout the night, leveraging every asset at our disposal. And I have to say the local, state, federal, military, including the United States Coast Guard in particular, they've done a phenomenal job. So quick, so fast. It was mobilized immediately.
Yeah. The Coast Guard is fucking badass. 100%. Honey P.
The work has now shifted to a recovery mission. Sadly, there are no survivors. This was a dark and excruciating.
Did you guys hear that? I mean, he just barely, like literally barely takes a breath, you know, to do that. There were no survivors. Like, it's fucking horrific, guys. It's absolutely fucking horrific. What happened, and oh, that would be amazing. I'll look for that later.
Night in our nation's capital and in our nation's history, and a tragedy of terrible proportions. As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly. And we are a country of, really, we are in mourning. This is really shaken a lot of people, including people, very sadly, from other nations who are
That one, he looked right in the camera, for other
on
nations.
the flight. For the family members back in Wichita, Kansas, here in Washington, D.C., and throughout the United States and in Russia, we have a Russia contingent, some very talented people. Unfortunately, we're on that plane. Very, very, very sorry about that.
Yeah, he has to really apologize. Notice who he's really, 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 really sorry about. The Russians on the plane. He's got to make sure he says that so Putin doesn't throw a fit.
Whose loved ones were aboard the passenger jet. We can only begin to imagine the agony that you're all feeling. Nothing worse.
Again, like scrunched up on the podium like this, looking down.
On behalf of the First Lady, myself, and 340 million Americans, our hearts are shattered alongside yours, and our prayers are with you now and in the days to come. We'll be working very, very diligently in the days to come. We're here for you to wipe away the tears and to offer you our devotion, our love, and our support. There's great support. In moments like this, the differences between Americans fade to nothing compared to the bonds of affection and loyalty that unite us all, both as Americans and even as nations. We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers. That icy, icy Potomac, it was a cold, cold night, cold water.
Does he not understand how frigid water works? Like, I don't know if this is just like him saying these things out loud because he wants like everybody to come to the same understanding that he has, that it was so cold. Like, yeah, they drown in freezing cold water. Look at, and I'm sorry guys, but I have to point out we're all, the hairstylist is fired today. Look at that. We can see that he doesn't have a full, beautiful head of hair anymore. He's very sleepy this morning. He's got bed hair, and nobody fluffed that over for him. When he sees this footage back and he sees that everyone can see that he is totally bald, totes bald, it's going to be bad. Okay. But guys, this is now, we're in week 2 of the Trump administration. Week 2, guys, it's only week 2. Week 2. I thought it was year 2. We're in week 2.
We're all overcome with the grief for many who have so tragically perished, will no longer be with us. Together we take solace in the knowledge that their journey ended not in the cold waters of the Potomac, but in the warm embrace of a loving God.
He had to look up for a minute. I want you guys to see the look on his face after he said God. I know you guys don't like his face, but I really want you to see it. Like, he doesn't even believe what he's saying. Yeah, he doesn't realize that they exploded. It was an explosion And then the remaining part of the plane plummeted into the Potomac, and anybody who may have survived the initial impact died. Because they were on approach. They were 300 feet from the ground. It was like boom, boom. It wasn't like they plummeted for, seconds, 30 seconds or more. I mean, that was like 300 feet, guys. That's, how long have we seen in movies where it takes a person to fall the length of a building? That was it. It wasn't. Yeah.
We do not know what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions and ideas, and I think we'll probably state those opinions now.
Here we go.
Because over the years I've watched as things like this happen, and they say, well, we're always investigating, and then the investigation 3 years later, they announce it. We think we have some pretty good ideas, but we'll find out how this disaster occurred, and we'll ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. The FAA and the NTSB and the U.S. military will be carrying out a systematic and comprehensive investigation. Our new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, is
don't ban Rick James.
When that happens, it's a rough one.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad for Sean to have to do his job that you just picked him for. This is part of the job, Sean. Did you know that? Investigating when shit goes down like this.
We'll be working tirelessly. He's a great gentleman. The whole group these are great people, and they are working tirelessly to figure out exactly what happened. We will state certain opinions, however. I'm also immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation
Here we go.
system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary.
What does this have to do with the people who are operating those two flight vehicles?
You remember that only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people.
People who fly airplanes already have to meet those standards, as well as military personnel who fly any form of transport. That's not new.
We're allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers.
Yeah, that's also been a thing.
That was not so prior to
That's false.
getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change
That has always been the case for air traffic controllers.
very early on, because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office,
We didn't really have that, and we have it. We had it. He can't make up his mind.
and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before.
No, absolutely not. There was no change in those standards that he listed. None.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
No. Here we go. Why did the planes crash, guys?
And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse.
Yeah.
So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that
He signed something.
was an executive
What
order,
was
very
it?
powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers and others.
Yeah, it wasn't specifically aimed at air traffic controllers. The proclamation wasn't restoring the high standards of air traffic controllers. It was basically your excuse to get rid of people of color, women, and Labiqua from any job listing being able to list that as a, you know, like a part of their life. And you don't want people to be hired, and you don't want companies to have a quota to mix it up. So that companies are free to just dismiss candidates based on their name, race, gender, and libiqua status. Because fuck diversity.
Well, the Coast Guard in this case would be maintaining a safety zone for those other activities. It's completely integrated and...
Sorry, guys.
Secretary Pete Buttigieg focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities.
No, they never.
That is amazing.
Never would someone on purpose hire someone who puts, have severe psychiatric disabilities. I'm on mute. Who's on mute? I'm not on mute. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, I'm going to carry on. Let's finish this up here.
And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers.
Guys, there are certain jobs that people with disabilities will not get. And that's okay, because in certain jobs, you have to be more than regularly able to perform that job. Let's just take a firefighter as an example, okay? Someone who can get around in life via the use of a wheelchair, okay, because they're a paraplegic, they're not going to get hired as a firefighter, but also they're not going to apply for that job. They know they're not qualified. They can't do all the things. People applying for air traffic control have to meet so many standards and are so tightly regulated because it is such a fucking vital and hard job to do. There's nobody just, a fucking homeless, methed out guy just walking up to an airport, be like, bro, let me, I got the planes. I got it. Like, nobody is asking or trying to do that. No one is allowing those people to be air traffic controllers. And by the way, it wasn't the air traffic controllers' fault. They told that helicopter, watch for the plane. Can you see it? Follow them into land. And then, because they had their fucking night vision goggles on, they couldn't see it because it was above them. Thank you, Gunna Fawcett. Getting a job in air traffic control is like harder than getting into the CIA, guys. Okay? He's just talking gibberish.
I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office.
He cannot take any responsibility. This is his second week in office. This happened under him.
Recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative.
Even if they were recruiting those people, what jobs were they doing at the FAA? You think they were putting somebody who's like severely on the spectrum, a nonverbal autistic person, into the air traffic control center, where that amount of randomity would be overwhelming to them probably, and they wouldn't be able to function?
Because of the stress.
Give me a break.
You have many, many planes coming into one target.
Yeah.
And you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it.
Could you
Targeted
do it?
disabilities
I
are
don't think
those
so.
disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of
No, they do not.
a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on
The
the map,
psychiatric
little runway.
situation would disqualify you immediately.
The initiative is part of the FAA's
And I can't believe you just said
diversity and
dwarfism.
inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so.
There you
I don't
go.
think so. I think
Excuse me.
it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation?
Sorry, you've been in power for 2
He's a
weeks now. Pete
disaster.
Buttigieg doesn't work there.
He was a disaster as a mayor.
This had nothing to
He
do
ran
with
his
Mr. Buttigieg.
city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit.
He just said
The Department
bullshit.
of Transportation.
This is the president of the
government
United
agency
States
charged with-
right now, just said bullshit live on the air during a press conference about a helicopter plane collision that happened on his watch, under his administration, under his Department of Transportation, and is trying to rewind the clock and talk about policies that were in place before he took office that he already rewound and got rid of. Are you joking me? And now he just said bullshit? Did I mishear that, guys? Did I mishear that? I don't think I did.
He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department.
He's just got a good line of bullshit.
of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Sir, you've been in power for
So,
2 weeks. He
I
doesn't
had to
work
say
for you.
that, it's terrible.
He doesn't
And
work
it's
for you.
a group within the FAA. Another
Should
story
someone tell him that Pete
determined the
Buttigieg
workforce was
doesn't work
too
for
white,
him?
That they had concerted efforts to
How
get
is this Pete
the
Buttigieg's
administration to
responsibility?
change that and to change it immediately.
I
This
think
was
it's
in the
your guys'
Obama
what the
administration just
fuck?
prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's
Did you?
ever seen before. It's one of the reasons
I don't know about
won.
that. More African Americans
came
were
out with
jailed
a
under your
directive to white.
administration than
And,
before.
we want
And because your ICE
people that are
department is
competent.
detaining so many
Now we
people,
mourn and
they're
we
going to
pray and
demand that
We'd
new
like to
detention
ask all
centers be
Americans to join me in
built.
a moment of silence as we ask God to
Right.
watch over those who have lost their lives and bring
And
comfort to
that's going to be
the
for-profit
loved ones.
prisons.
And,
How much money
I
are the
just
American
wanna
taxpayers going to
say
pay
God
to
bless
house
everyone in this room.
these
This has been
detainees of immigration,
terrible,
the immigration
very
detainees in
short period of time.
Guantanamo?
We'll get to the bottom of it. So we all saw the same thing. We've seen it many times. I've had the honor of hearing tapes. Tapes are scary, very scary tapes. You had a
It's the black box tapes.
airliner coming in, American Airlines. He was doing everything right. He was on track. He was the same track as everybody else. They came in. It's probably the same track as they've had for
Yeah.
25 years or more.
He was in the right of
He's
way.
coming in the path.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason,
Yeah. What
he had a
happened?
helicopter that was at the same height,
What the fuck was it doing there?
obviously when they hit, but pretty much the same height,
Uh-huh.
and going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. When the
Yeah.
air traffic controller said, do you see, he was talking about, do you see him?
Uh-huh.
But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also, he said, follow him in. And then almost immediately after that, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Well,
and guys, here's the thing about a helicopter. Little known fact, maybe. Newsflash. Newsflash about helicopters. They can hover. They can hover. They can just stop and hover where they are in the air because they're helicopters. So when this helicopter was spotted by the FAA, here's the part that I want to hear from this black box shit. As soon as the tower was talking to this Black Hawk helicopter, why didn't they just stop? Why didn't they just stop? Also, Black Hawk helicopter has tremendous maneuverability. So why didn't they just dip and turn in the direction, like when you get into a skid, you go in the direction of the skid. So the helicopter was coming this way and the plane was coming this way and they met like right here. Okay. So if the airport is telling him, watch out, follow him in, he could have gone down and this way and the plane would have just gone over him. It would have been a very close call. He would have had to dip a lot because that plane already had its landing gear out. But my other question is, and this is for, Secretary of the Military right now. What the fuck was that Black Hawk doing a training run for in commercial airspace at night? What the fuck was that? Literally, what the fuck was that? Who gave that order? Who told them to do that? I want to know who called the code red. And I can handle the truth. I want to fucking know. Because this is bullshit. This is absolutely bullshit. This happened on your watch, sir. We'll put you back in the witness protection program. This happened on your watch, sir. Your watch. This is your administration that this fuck up belongs to. Not Pete Buttigieg. He has nothing to do with it. This is your military and your FAA, homie. This is a Trump.
It's like everything's fine. Follow him in. You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of
interesting, Christina. Yeah, they should have that stopped. It's bullshit.
A very clear night. It was cold but clear, and clear as you could be.
Then how the fuck did that happen? There's no fog, no elements blocking the view of an airplane. It makes less sense.
The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on.
Basically, Ruthie, also Pete Buttigieg. Don't forget about Pete.
Up on the Kennedy Center. That seems to be the primary thus far. I'm sure we'll see other tapes because it's such an area where there are a lot of cameras looking up into the air, into space. So we'll probably see many other shots of it before too much time goes by. But we had a situation where you had a helicopter that had the ability to stop. I have helicopters.
Thank you. Even Trump knows they had the ability to stop.
You can stop a helicopter very quickly.
Yeah.
It had the ability to go up or down. It had the ability to turn. And the turn it made was not the correct turn, obviously. It did somewhat the opposite of what it was told. We don't know that would have been the difference because the timing was so tight. It was so little. There was so little time to think. But what you did have is you had vision. The helicopter had vision of the plane because you had vision of it.
That is the best question yet, Lisa. He said, we're doing an investigation, but we have very strong opinions about what happened, and we're going to state them here. So while he's stating all this hyperbole that's bullshit, that has nothing to do with reality, okay, he's basically tanking any FAA investigation that should be absolutely ongoing right now. And the public needs to know exactly what happened, and the black box communications need to be released, period. Because this is a fucking disaster.
All the way, perfect vision of it all the way from at Kennedy Center where the tape was taken. And for some reason, there weren't adjustments made. Again, you could have slowed down the helicopter substantially. You could have stopped the helicopter. You could have gone up. You could have gone down. You could have gone straight up, straight down. You could have turned. You could have done a million different maneuvers. For some reason, it just kept going and then made a slight turn at the very end, and it was, by that time, it was too late. They shouldn't have been at the same height.
Correct, Merrily. An investigation of this magnitude, we won't find, and he said that at the beginning, but we won't find out the actual results of this investigation, maybe even until, you know, like he's out of office. It's just oh, no, 100%. He's forwarding a narrative here. But what I want to know is, why do you have more empathy? This is to Mr. Trump. Why do you have more empathy and apologies for the Russian people on board? What are we trying to prevent right now? Who were those Russians besides skaters? Like, so many questions. So many questions. Yeah, Jackie, it is kind of feeling a lot like the COVID ones. No, I know. But here's the sitch. They could have. It's a whole ass airplane that was flying as low as them. Like, there's so many questions I have right now. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. But why is Trump making sure that we push this off on another administration, that we push blame away from himself and apologize to Russians more than we're apologizing to what he claims is important, America first? So. Yeah. Exactly, Adam. In the 80s, a group of Trump executives were killed in a helicopter crash. His message to the press was, don't worry, I'm okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Height, because if it wasn't the same height, you could have gone under it or over it, and nobody realized, or they didn't say that it's at the same height. At the same height, it still wouldn't have been great, but you would have missed it by quite a bit. Could have been 1,000 feet higher.
He doesn't, now he's just pretending like he's a helicopter pilot. He has no aviation experience. He has no anything to suppose all of these things that he's supposing. He has been a passenger. He's a professional passenger. I would bet $1 million this man doesn't even have a driver's license because he grew up in New York City his whole life. It's not uncommon for people who live in New York to not, you know, have a driver's license. Congress voted to allow more flights. Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, here's the deal, guys. Every airport is overworked. Okay. With especially the air traffic controllers. Yeah. 100%. There are anti-collision warnings in all of those aircrafts. This is why a full investigation needs to happen. Is there a video of it? Is there a video of the actual crash? I haven't seen it. He's a passenger princess. Yeah, he is a passenger princess. That is for sure. Let me look, because I haven't seen footage of the crash. So you guys can see the planes on approach. Here's the Black Hawk. And boom. What in the actual frack? Like, guys. And then there they go into the river. This doesn't make any sense. Here's a plane taking off. It wasn't even going that fast, the helicopter. This footage doesn't make any sense. And it crashed into the tail. See, that's the front end of the plane going down. It crashed into the tail of the plane. He's not a pilot, but he did stay at a Holiday Inn that one time. But guys, you see what I'm saying? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Like, that doesn't... here's another image. Boom. Like, you can see that helicopter did not waver in its flight path. And boom. Like, they were literally almost at the runway. Look how low that plane is. Look how low that plane is. That is insane. Why does China and Al Jazeera have all this footage and we're not seeing this everywhere? Like this, who's this from?
Center. And this is what we've just been authorized.
What we've been authorized to show you. Here we go. And that's the Al Jazeera. That's the Al Jazeera footage that they got. Like, none of this makes sense, guys. Boom. Here it is again. Look at the helicopter, guys. It does not appear from this footage to be wavering at all from its flight path. That's not looking good. But let's blame it. But guys, let's blame it on Pete Buttigieg, because that makes sense. Because obviously Pete Buttigieg is responsible for a Black Hawk that, from appearances, from what I can see with my human eyes in that video, it does not appear to waver from its path and collides with the tail of that plane. That does not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. They definitely had time to maneuver and space to maneuver that Black Hawk. So I hate when I see shit like that, guys. You know why? Because my it does look exactly like that. Stretch and share. That's what it looks like to me. And I hate that that's what it looks like to me. I hate that. I'm wondering that too. But also, like, we haven't, as far as I know, gotten a full manifest of the passengers, unless that's listed somewhere. The only thing I had heard tidbit wise was there was like several teams of Russian skaters, which of course Trump had to mention. This was a commercial, like, regional flight from Kansas to DC. You know, it's like one of those planes where there's 2 seats on every side of the plane. It's just a little guy. Just a little boop, you know, going from Kansas there. Probably, because there's only 60 people on board. No. Jesus Christ, Christina. I'm so sorry for that man. That is awful. That is horrifically awful. Yeah. I mean, the footage, guys, you know, that's what I see. 2 young U.S. figure skaters, their mothers, and then the Russian skaters who are now coaches. Okay. But also, like, but he emphasized the Russians on the plane. And that's sad that we had, you know, young American talent there. Yeah, me too. Yeah, everybody's confirming all that. Jesus, Lord.
It could have been 200 feet lower, but it was exactly.
He's just going to keep talking. Guys, I'm not going to play any more of this. We already heard him blame DEI. We heard him blame Pete Buttigieg. Okay? It's a bunch of nonsense. Now, today, we also have two very important congressional hearings happen. Senate congressional hearings happening. One for Kash Patel and one for Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I want to tell you guys, I've talked a bit about Kash Patel being very dangerous based on comments that he's made on X, on Truth, and the interviews that he's done online. We're talking about, turning the FBI building into, a deep state museum and closing it down, closing down the J. Edgar Hoover building. Let me pull up that footage here because he got questioned a lot about that. But I hadn't had time to do all the research I wanted to do into Kash Patel. But it was interesting to hear his personal bio in his opening statement, which I will play for you guys. But one second here. I just want to find that clip. Because it's from an interview where he says that. There we go. Oh. Yeah, from the Sean Ryan show. That's right. Why am I in somehow Instagram sign? Guys, something's wrong with my computer. Do you want to see what just happened? I went to go to Instagram. Okay. People are trying to hack all my social media right now. Here's evidence. Why is my Instagram in Sanskrit or Thai? What has happened? That's not my Instagram. What is this? Here, I'm just gonna go and I clicked on I clicked on this. Okay. It's an Instagram reel. Should just take me to my Instagram. No, I need it in English. That was in Nepali. Why did my shit get changed to Nepali? Okay, so we're gonna. That's insane. Where's the sound in this?
You want and takes. What do you in the right people? You also have to shrink government.
Okay, I'm just gonna play it from the beginning so you guys can hear it.
It's gotten so big, and the biggest.
Okay. So he did say that in this interview. You can find the full interview on Sean Ryan show on YouTube. Okay. So now, okay, I'm going to get rid of him. I can't stand it. Okay. So let's go to C-SPAN. I'm going to get through these guys talking, but I want you to hear Kash Patel's opening statement.
Start with a word of prayer for the tragic accident that befell our nation last night, where we lost civilians and service members. I pray for their families. I pray for law enforcement and military personnel, and I pray for their souls, and hopefully God will find them peace in the near future. I'd like to welcome my father, Pramod, and my mother, Anjana, who are sitting here today. They traveled here to get here from India. My sister's also here, Nisha. She also traversed the oceans just to be with me here today. It means the world that you guys are here. Jesse Krishna. I wouldn't be here today without their guidance, their unwavering support, and their relentless love. When President Trump informed me of his intention to nominate me as the director of the FBI, I was deeply honored. Sitting here today, I carry not only the dreams of my parents, but also the hopes of millions of Americans who stand for justice, fairness, and the rule of law. My commitment to these principles is deeply rooted in my family's history, which has profoundly shaped my worldview. My father fled Idi Amin's genocidal dictatorship in Uganda, where 300,000 men, women, and children were killed based on their ethnicity, just because they happen to look like me.
So his father is a genocide survivor from Uganda. I did not know this.
My mother is originally from Tanzania. She studied in India, as did my dad, and they were married there.
So his mom's from Tanzania? Tanzania? I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that's Tanzania.
They would later emigrate to New York, as the senator pointed out, where I was born, and we were raised in a household.
Does he not know how to say Tanzania, where his mom's from? I mean, that was weird. Unless there's another country called Tanzania. Can somebody please let me know?
Of my father's 7 siblings, their spouses, and at least half a dozen children. That's the only way we knew how to do things at the time, in the 70s and 80s, the Indian way. But we would soon learn the American way. These values have shaped and been the driving force of my career in 16 years of government service. Protecting the rights of the Constitution is of the utmost importance to me and has been every single time I've taken that oath of office.
Okay, so here's the part that I want you guys to listen to is his body of work since he's been working. So just listen here. This is important.
The recent terrorist attacks in New Orleans tragically claimed the lives of 14 innocent Americans and serve as a stark reminder that our national security is at threat, both internally and externally. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Justice, where I served, play a pivotal role in securing our freedoms and our safeties for American citizens. If confirmed as the next FBI director, I will remain focused on the FBI's core mission. That is to investigate fully wherever there is a constitutional factual basis to do so, and to never make a prosecutorial decision that is solely the providence of the Department of Justice and the Attorney General. For the first 8 years after law school, I served as a public defender.
Okay, so he's a lawyer. I did not know that. And he was a public defender. Listen what he said.
First for Miami-Dade County, and later for the Southern District of Florida. During that time, I represented some pretty...
Yes, he is an anchor baby. Mm-hmm. But, like, he's okay because his parents did it the right way.
awful human beings charged with some pretty heinous crimes. But what I learned there was a core value that has been enshrined in me since, that due process must be provided without bias to all Americans. And if we cannot provide due process to the worst, then there can be no due process for anyone.
Now, I want to say I agree with him. I was shocked to find that emotion inside myself, that I agree with Kash Patel about due process, 100%.
And our constitutional republic fails. But I battled on that hill for that due process. I would later serve in the Obama Justice Department as a terrorism prosecutor in the National Security Division.
I did not know that. So he prosecuted terrorism crimes under Obama. Look how bored. See, like, the Republicans are mad that he's going to tout all of this shit that he did, because it shows what my theory might be. Just look at the Republicans. They're very uncomfortable.
Where we successfully contributed to the prosecution of terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, and others. I was honored to receive the 2017 Assistant Attorney General's Award from Loretta Lynch for my work in helping the Ugandans.
He just dropped Loretta Lynch's name.
Bring members of Al-Shabaab to justice for murdering 74 innocent people, including an American. I would also receive the Human Intelligence Award from the intelligence community for related work on that mission. My experiences at the National Security Division would later be followed by my experiences on the National Security Council as Senior Director for Counterterrorism.
I did not know he was that person.
And later as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence, responsible for the production, creation, and promulgation of the Presidential Daily Briefing, our nation's most sensitive classified information and secrets to protect our country. My time in the White House was preceded by my time right here in Congress as a staffer on the House Intelligence Committee.
Look at that. This guy has quite the pedigree. It's actually not just some rando guy, bro douche, who shows up on Sean Ryan podcast wearing the "Don't Tread on Me" shirt, right? Like, this guy has been in it to win it for America, like for real, for decades.
Where I spearheaded the investigation that exposed serious FISA, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses by members of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That misconduct eroded the public trust in our FBI. The erosion of trust, as Chairman Grassley pointed out, is all too low today. 40% of Americans have trust in the FBI. In order to get it back, there's a twofold track, Senator. One, violent crime is exploding in this country, and we cannot afford them to allow it to run away.
Okay, so now we're going to go on with his crime. But this is important, though.
We must tackle violent crime. Just in 2023 alone, there was 100,000 rapes, 100,000 drug overdoses, and 17,000 homicides.
That's a lot.
The priority of the FBI, if I'm confirmed, will be to ensure that our communities are protected and safeguarded and our children have parks to play in and not needles to walk over.
They've been saying they're going to get rid of needles in parks since I was a small child in 1980. So I've been waiting 40 fucking years for that cash.
The way we do this, we let good cops be cops.
We let good cops be cops. We let good cops be cops. He wanted to look right in the camera for that. That one, that's his camera moment. We let good cops be cops.
We let law enforcement, and we provide them with the tools necessary and resources they need to get after violent crime.
Do they need tanks? Do they need to be weaponized like a paramilitary group? Or maybe they need to do some actual community outreach.
The second way we do this on equal track is aggressive constitutional oversight from Congress.
Oh. Aggressive constitutional oversight from Congress. This is going to be fun.
The public trust can only be restored if there is full transparency, and I am committed to that full transparency. Members of Congress have unfortunately submitted hundreds of questions that have been unanswered by the FBI in recent times. That will not occur.
Welch, get off your phone.
All appropriate requests for information will be responded to expeditiously and fully. I'm committed to working alongside the dedicated men and women of the FBI. They are warriors of justice.
Warriors of justice, the FBI. Warriors of justice.
And I will always have their backs because they have the backs of the American people. I look forward to answering your questions, and I want to take a moment to thank my family, my friends.
Blah, 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 blah. For some reason, this is just a clip, and I had the whole hearing up, and it just went to a clip because I want to show you some highlights. That's his opening statement. Yeah, there's been a number of heated exchanges, y'all. A number of heated exchanges between Patel and several people. I guess they've decided to break that up. But I want you guys to hear that opening statement for one reason, because it throughout his interview, and there was one particular exchange I was hoping to find. Oh my God, I can't even do the RFK stuff. I'll be honestly, it just was so upsetting. Just so idiotic and stupid. Why do we have Tulsi Gabbard live and we have RFK live, but we don't have, where's my cash, Patel? Okay, I'm going to go to actual C-SPAN. Like it was on their thing here. Here we go. Is that just a clip again? This is a clip of him and Dick Durbin. Is it not? Where's the whole thing? Oh, here we go. Full event. No. Later, Gator. Full event. All right, here we go.
Calling all YouTubers. Want to make more from your shop?
Sure. I already have Fourth Wall. And if you guys want to get this Regina George liberal sweatshirt or other things, visit my Fourth Wall shop, which is hooked up to my YouTubes, or you can go to the shop. It's ohnomerica.com. Yep. All the things are on there. Yeah, I agree. Oh, now I can skip it. I was just too busy talking to you guys. Okay. So somebody put a star.
Of this mission and is ready on day one, not someone who is consumed by his own personal political grievances. The American people deserve an FBI director focused on keeping our families safe from terrorism, drug trafficking, and violent crime.
I'm going to speed it
Not
up
the
here.
checklist of grievances we find in this book. Mr. Patel, your record makes it clear you're not that person. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Durbin. Before I call on Senator Tillis, I want to clear up something the way I see it, and I think I'm going to invite everybody that it can be cleared up. This business about what Mr. Patel said about cowards in uniform, it's a mischaracterization of what.
Yeah, he can't even get the stupid words out of his mouth. This guy doesn't ask him a really hard question.
Members of Congress have unfortunately submitted hundreds of questions that have been unanswered by the FBI.
You do have a foundation, though, do you not?
I'm very proud of the Cash Foundation and the $1.3 million we've given to families in need across this country, including active duty service members, police officers, putting kids in college, and helping people in disaster relief areas rebuild their homes and their communities.
1&0 LLC, are you familiar with that?
Sorry?
1&0 LLC?
I believe, Senator, you're referring to the LLC that one of the individuals has his private business with.
Is it part of the Cash Foundation in any way?
Only in that one of the members of the board has that LLC for his outside business.
Andrew Hollis?
I believe that's his name, yes.
Yes. Do you know how much was paid to him from your charitable work?
Here we go.
Yes, like any other charity, we had to go out and fundraise, something I'm sure every member of this committee is familiar with. And we use digital marketing campaigns, and I believe we paid a digital marketing company through 1&0 $250,000 to raise $500,000.
So a board member on a charitable board used his own outside company to digitally market for the charity that he's on, and his company received $250,000 for that digital marketing campaign. Does anybody see a conflict of interest there?
Which we gave away to families in need, like when hurricanes struck Florida, Texas, and North Carolina.
We will be going through the details of your foundation and the expenditures with the questions for record that the chairman has mentioned. You'll have a chance to answer those under oath. Mr. Patel, you frequently associated with and sometimes praised extremist figures with well-documented histories of racism, anti-Semitism, conspiracies, and the like. In September of 2023, you appeared with Laura Loomer at an event promoting your book, this one here. You shared a photo of yourself and Loomer in which you held her book and she held yours. Just a few months before this event, Ms. Loomer posted on X that the September 11 terrorist attacks were, quote, an inside job. Around that time, she accused Florida's First Lady, Casey DeSantis, of exaggerating her cancer diagnosis to gain voter sympathy. A number of my Republican colleagues on this committee have criticized.
None of those things are good. Can you hear him now?
Ms. Loomer's extremism. One of my colleagues described her as a, quote, crazy conspiracy theorist who regularly utters disgusting garbage. Another called her really toxic. Given all of this, why did you associate with Ms. Loomer?
Senator, as you can see, I took a photograph with an individual who showed up at a book event. I don't believe I'm guilty by association, and I certainly don't believe that an individual who was the first minority to serve as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence for this country is a racist in any way, and I detest any conjecture to the contrary.
You familiar with a Stu Peters? Does that name ring a bell?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Not off the top of my head.
You made 8 separate appearances on his podcast.
He was on the guy's show 8 times. I don't know. I know a lot of stews.
Promoted outrageous conspiracy theories and worked with a prominent neo-Nazi. There are more. Ted Nugent, it goes on, the list goes on. I'm just asking, when it comes to your association with individuals, why are so many of them in this category?
My association, as you loosely define it, is by appearing in media over 1,000 times to take on people who are putting on conspiratorial theories and to devour them of their false impressions and to talk to them about the truth. That is something that I will always continue to fight for, Senator.
See, I want you guys to hear his answers to these questions because it's very important because something happened in my mind as this went along. But let's...
Senator Graham.
Thank you. We'll eventually talk about the FBI. That's the job you're up here for, right? Have you ever been subject to racism as an individual?
But fortunately, Senator, yes, I don't want to get into those details with my family here.
Oh, let's get into a few of them. Then, what they know now, they wouldn't.
I'm Lindsey Graham.
His office to prosecute journalists. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. We're going to come after you, whether it's criminally or civilly.
So that's a quote from Trump about what he wants done. Mr. White House, sir, can you please get a pair of progressives and stop staring over these Walgreens cheaters? Please do us all a favor. You look like a character from a very poorly cast film about government.
Is that a correct quotation, Mr. Patel?
Senator, that's a partial quotation.
But it's correct.
In part.
Regarding his publication of his enemies list, Mr. Patel proclaimed, "The manhunt starts tomorrow."
This is things Kash Patel has said.
And reposted a video depicting him taking a chainsaw to his political enemies. Is that you, Kash Patel, reposting that at the top of that page?
Senator, I had nothing to do with the creation of that.
Is that you reposting it, was my question.
And that's me at the top.
Yeah. You retruthed it. You retweeted it, which means you give it.
You said FBI agents were responsible for the violence on January 6th, and I quote you here, beyond a reasonable doubt. Is that what you said?
That's completely incorrect, and I appreciate the opportunity to address that.
I'll give you an opportunity in writing, but this is my time now.
Have at it.
An Inspector Attorney General investigation found that was false. And you said we should impeach judges who rule against Donald Trump, who are, in your words, political terrorists. When this nominee tries to explain all this away, keep one thing in mind. He's testified under oath before a Colorado judge who presided over a Trump case in which he was a witness. And the judge found, and I'm quoting here, he was not a credible witness. His testimony is not only illogical, but completely devoid of any evidence in the record. That's from a judge. This is a dangerous time.
Did he just laugh? He just laughed at him.
I ask all my colleagues to consider whether these plain comments by this person and by his own Trump administration colleagues should be given a blind eye, just overlooked, or whether, like the warnings of pardoning violent January 6 offenders, they're warnings to be heeded. There is an
Okay, so Kash is laughing at this guy quoting him on these things. But this goes to my theory. Hang on.
Unfathomable difference between a seeming facade being constructed around this nominee here today and what he has actually done and said in real life when left to his own devices. Conduct shows character. And if you look at history, you see the danger of security chiefs in authoritarian regimes becoming the tools of political power. The characteristics that they often show are that they are vengeful, that they are grandiose, that they are intemperate, that they are partisan and blindly loyal, and that they are servile.
I don't know what servile means. I'll look that up later.
And won't say no.
Like
I'm afraid
servants.
That the history of this nominee's conduct raises those warnings. And I yield my 1 second back.
Before Senator
I yield my 1 second back.
Cornyn, you said you'd like to explain something. I forget the point he made. You can do that now if you want to.
Simply this, Senator. In the collective, all of those statements are taken out of grotesque context. And anyone that thinks my 16 years of service is an exemplar on how I would proceed if confirmed as FBI is intentionally putting false information into the public ether and creating more public discourse. The only thing that will matter if I'm confirmed as a director of the FBI is a de-weaponized, depoliticized system of law enforcement completely devoted to rigorous obedience of the Constitution and a singular standard of justice.
Okay. This is a very important response that he had there. Okay, so let's go to this exchange with Klobuchar here.
Men and women of the FBI.
Do you believe a warrant requirement is a practical and workable or even a necessary element of 702?
If I may just give some context on that, Senator. Having a background not only utilizing FISA and 702 as a national security prosecutor, but as a civilian at JSOC and later as an intelligence official and the deputy director of national intelligence, 702 collection formulates over 45% of the presidential daily briefing that you referred to earlier.
I actually have heard it's as high as 60%, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. And The issue for me is not with FISA and 702. The issue has been those that have been in government service and abused it in the past. And so we must work with Congress to provide the protections necessary for American citizens, dealing with these matters, including hostage rescue operations in real time, which we use FISA collection to find and save American hostages. Having a warrant requirement to go through that information in real time is just not comportive with the requirement to protect American citizenry. I'm all open to working with Congress on finding a better way forward.
But when we need the info, right now, we're going to get it.
Right now, these improvements that you've made go a long way.
Well, and Director Ratcliffe said that he did not believe that, given the context of 702 collection, whether a foreign target communicates with a U.S. person, that there'd be sufficient evidence to go to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court or any other court to demonstrate probable cause. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, just in real time, Senator, excuse me, it's almost impossible to make that function and serve the national no-fail
Thank you for the definition, guys.
You hit the nail on the head when you point out the lack of trust. Any of these tools can be abused by people who are willing to break the law or abuse these tools or violate the public trust. Director Ratcliffe, again, used, I thought, a helpful analogy. I'll see if you agree with it. He said the knives in your kitchen have a very useful and beneficial purpose, but they, too, can be misused do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for murder.
Do you agree that tools like Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act can be used appropriately to protect national security, but they can also be abused by people who are willing to cross a line they should not cross?
They're both true, and that's why we need to work together to make sure Americans have trust again in these surveillance measures that we utilize to protect our country.
If you guys haven't liked or subscribed, please do so.
Thank you very much, Mr.
We're
Chairman.
almost there to
Mr.
1,000
Patel,
subscribers.
I think you know that I have great respect for the men and women of the FBI, their mission, fidelity, bravery, integrity. I believe they deserve a director who respects their work and sacrifices, and they deserve a director who's focused on their mission. This is not about bingo cards or games. This is not about revenge. This is about the safety of our country and the people that work in the FBI. And the FBI runs on facts. It runs on truth. Truth matters. And without truth, the whole system breaks down. You said that Donald Trump has every right to tell the world that in 2020, 2016, and every other election in between was rigged by our government because they were. Yes or no? Did you say that?
I don't have that statement in front of me. But
okay, that was from August 27th, 2023 Thrive Time show. I'll put it on the record. These claims made in that statement were rejected by courts, including by Republican judges. Is that correct?
I don't have enough of the facts in front of me to make that assessment.
I will put that statement on the record, but I think everyone in this committee, including the Republican members, knows that these statements were rejected by courts. You were asked about the police officers in the Capitol who testified in the January 6 hearings, and you accused them of lying. Is that correct or not correct?
I don't think that's accurate.
Okay, Joe Pack's podcast, March 2024, we'll put it on the record. I was there. The police officers were heroes that day.
Yes.
Did you post on your personal social media account in May of 2024, January 6th, never an insurrection, cowards in uniforms exposed. They broke the chain of command.
I believe you're referencing a post that was shown in part earlier. I don't have it in front of me.
You posted it, and it was on your account, and we will again put that out there once more as we go on. I don't want to lose any more time on this, but every one of these, there's a record of it, and you haven't answered. You promoted a COVID vaccine, reversal, or detox supplement. One scientist said, I quote, none of these substances in any form would minimize side effects from a COVID-19 vaccine. That is preying on innocent people. Did you perform clinical trials before you made that claim?
I'm not a doctor, so no.
But you did promote this supplement and told people that it would reverse or mitigate the side effects from COVID vaccine.
Did I give people an opportunity to make an independent choice for what's best for their families? Yes.
You did that last year, correct?
I don't have it in front of me again, Senator.
That is such a Scientology way of putting something. That is just a no answer. Did I give people an opportunity to make an alternative, independent choice for their family?
Patel, the FBI tackles some of the most complex threats that we face: terrorists, hostile foreign powers, violent gangs, fentanyl, criminal organizations.
Yep.
Your mission, though, has been to go after people. I've looked at it. I've read this stuff. Yes or no? When Trump wins, did you say this? When Trump wins in 2024 and is in power in 2025, we can prosecute them, referring to Justice Department officials for an actual RICO statute violation, for criminally organizing the United States government to break the law to rig presidential elections. Did you say that, yes or no?
Again, Senator, you're reading a partial statement, so I'm unable to fully respond.
Okay, again.
See, he's a lawyer, guys, and he's lawyering pretty fucking good.
And we'll put it on the record. X22 report podcast 20. That is from, I'll get you the date, about a year ago. One of the names on.
Like, why don't they play these segments? I know because they have like 3 minutes, but like if you're going to play a clip, if you're going to talk about a quote, play the clip, roll the tape. Like we're trying to confirm this guy or not, you know, and him doing the lawyer statements of no. Oh, now what? He was not part of the J6 plot. Let's not pass info around that is not. We'll get there. We'll get there. Just hold.
On your list was Bill Barr. Chairman Grassley has called him one of the most capable cabinet officials I've ever been able to vote for. Senator Graham has said, I have nothing but total respect and admiration for the job done by William Barr as Attorney General of the United States. Is Bill Barr on your list of whatever you want to call them, been referred to as an enemies list? You called him deep state after serving his country as the Attorney General of the United States. Is he on your list because of a personal vendetta?
Well, it's not whatever we want to call it, Senator. With all due respect, it's not an enemies list. That is a total mischaracterization.
I asked you, I actually used the words you used for the list, which
Yeah, he did call it an enemies list. That was his words.
with deep state, right? That's what you put at the
It is a
top.
glossary
Against
in
the
the
Attorney
back.
General of the United States. Is it because of a personal vendetta that he's on the list? You're under oath.
I have no personal vendetta against Bill
Okay, he said about you.
She's like, don't. She's also a lawyer. She's like, oh, you want a lawyer right now? I'm going to lawyer it up.
You would never be able to command the respect necessary to run the day-to-day operations of the Bureau. That was actually in writing in his book. He had virtually, about you, no experience that would qualify you to serve at the highest level of the world's preeminent law enforcement agency, and that your appointment, as noted by Senator Durbin as Deputy Director to the FBI, would happen over his dead body. Is it, yes or no, why you would put him on the list of deep state as a former Attorney General, Trump Attorney General of the United States? Because he wouldn't break the law for Donald Trump. Is that why?
Absolutely not.
As you know, he repeatedly told the president in no uncertain terms that he did not see evidence of fraud that would have affected the outcome of the election. Did you say in February of 2021 that the election stuff was never my job and I stayed all of it all? I stayed out of that stuff.
Again, I don't know what comment you're referring to, but I'm sure you're reading a piece of something.
You said it on Pushback on a podcast. Is it true, though, that in December of 2020, you reached out to the Trump acting Deputy Attorney General and asked him to investigate a conspiracy theory claiming that people in Italy had used military technology and satellites to remotely tamper with voting machines in the U.S. and switch votes
That was one I didn't hear about.
for Trump, from Trump to Biden? Is that true?
What was the date?
That was out of December of 2020.
I was Chief of Staff to the Department of Defense, so I don't believe that's accurate anyway.
Okay, that came out of testimony before Congress. I will give it to you. Have you referred to the media as the most powerful enemy of the United States that they have ever seen? Is that right?
Again, you're reading a quote. I take
Page
you're
to
reading it accurately.
CPAC 22324. You said we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens who helped Joe Biden rig the elections. We're going to come after you whether it's criminally or civilly. Is that something you said?
That's a partial statement of what I said.
Steve Bannon's podcast. You also said you would put the entire fake news mafia press corps on your list. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
I don't have that in front of me.
Danny Johnson podcast.
This is the greatest bit of lawyering I've ever seen.
2123. You have said that the FBI, including today, you said that they remain utterly corrupt. This is an agency with agents who have taken down terrorists, taken down bank robbers, taken down crime. And you wrote that the FBI has become so thoroughly compromised that it will remain a threat to the people unless drastic measures are taken. Do you know that under Chris Wray's leadership, he took over at a very difficult time, we all know that, appointed by President Trump, that during his tenure, the applications to the FBI has in fact tripled? Do you think people would be applying to that agency, like in those numbers, if they thought it was so corrupt?
The American public's trust in it is at 40%. That's an all-time low.
Right. Maybe they wanted to make it better. Oh, he's pissed. He's pissed.
Did you say that the FBI headquarters should be shut down and reopened as a museum of the deep state?
Mr. Chairman, are we allowed to go an extra time?
Let's see.
See, look, right there. Now he's gonna play dodgeball because the time is up. He can see the clock. He's staring at the clock. And she asked him a direct question, which I showed you guys that quote at the beginning.
You get a second round. Before I call on Senator
Could
Lee,
he just answer the question if he said that the FBI headquarters, where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism, should be shut down and opened as a deep state, as a museum? Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
Look at how he's just going to sit there. This is a very lawyerly moment. Okay? She wants an answer to a legit question. He's just going to sit there and be quiet. Now, note, kids, note. What Patel is doing right now, this is exactly how you respond when you are being questioned about things. Okay? I don't have that in front of me. I don't recall, or just play the rule book. Time's up. Time's up.
Mr. Chair, I deserve an answer to that question. He is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry.
got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Mr. Chair.
Oh!
And I am quoting his own words from September of 2024. It is his own words. It is not some conspiracy.
See, Amy is pissed. She's pissed.
It is what Mr. Patel actually said himself. Facts matter.
You forget that you had...
See, like she's about to start crying. I would be crying too. Because this is emotional. This is fucking America. Did he say those words or not?
3 minutes in the next round to say what you just said.
Okay, I'll say
You're going to get 3 minutes?
Before I call Lee.
Mr. Chair, just parliamentary inquiry. And it was on time. It wasn't disputing any of the debate, but I intend to keep to my 7 minutes, and I appreciate you keeping everyone to it. If we go over, can we have that decrement against the time in the second round? If a member goes over, that was...
So now a Republican is trying to get Amy Klobuchar's time reduced in the second round because she didn't get an answer to her question.
Actually, 10 minutes, Mr. Chair.
I'm not sure that I want to. Sometimes it's faster to get things done here, just letting people shout than it does to shut them up.
Mr. Chairman.
It's faster to just let them say it, and then I just shut them up.
A wise man, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Before we go to Lee.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, what do you want?
Grandpa Grassley has had enough. Pop-Pops is like, what do you want?
I love this guy. Mr. Chairman, I'm like Senator Tillis. I mean, if we're going to start this, I want an extra 3 minutes.
Well,
now, my friend Senator Klobuchar, we're 3 minutes over.
So, hear what you're saying.
She wasn't 3 minutes over.
Is the chairman wasn't a very good chairman by not shutting her up. But I've gone through this before.
Chairman wasn't a very good chairman. I didn't shut her up.
And I think I know how to handle it. And get
I think you're a star-spangled awesome chairman.
I think you're star-spangled awesome chairman. You're star. Have anyone in America? If you're an American in the chat, please raise your hand. Have you ever called anyone in your human American existence star-spangled awesome? What the fuck was that?
I won't say that for the record, but if you're going to let somebody over there go 3 minutes over, I want my extra 3 minutes.
Well, let's see if it's abused by anybody else before we make that decision.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to abuse it.
Well, I'm not going to let you abuse it.
You're a good man, Mr. Chairman.
Before I go to Lee, I want to put a statement in the record from 56.
See, now he's got to pop over to the other hearing that's happening right now for Tulsi Gabbard. Right.
6 former FBI agents wrote to this committee to support this nominee. Quote, never has the FBI faced such an urgent and compelling need for comprehensive reform as it does today. Mr. Patel has proven he possesses the breadth of experience required to address these challenges. His leadership, expertise...
Blah, 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 blah. That's not the confrontation. This is the one. I want you guys to hear what Chris Coons had to say here. Because then things get a little different. All right, here we go.
Our constitutional rights, and I voted to confirm Trump's previous FBI director, Chris Wray. I believe he's lived up to the Bureau's motto of serving with fidelity, bravery, and integrity. And I also think my vote for him and for many of Trump's cabinet in his first term shows I take my constitutional advice and consent role seriously and do not reflexively vote against his nominees.
So Chris is a Democrat from Delaware, and he's just said out loud that in the first Trump administration, which is what most Democrats did, they voted for these confirmations. Okay. So now, here's what we're going to see out of him. This is where the part that I got to. I was listening and watching this. I had to go to an appointment and boom. So listen up.
I look at 3 factors when I assess a nominee: qualifications and experience, policy views and whether they're in the best interest of the American people, and character and capacity to do the job independently where called for. My colleagues have referenced quotes from Attorney General Barr, National Security Advisor Bolton. The FBI is enormous, 38,000 agents, $9 billion.
$9 billion budget for 38,000 people. That's a lot.
Budget. I am troubled by your lack of senior law enforcement leadership. We disagree on some important policy views, but the thing that bothers me the most is a whole series of statements you've made in a variety of settings that suggest you would struggle to be independent from White
like the ones Amy Klobuchar was bringing up.
House direction or control, as has long been the modern history of the FBI. Who does the director of the FBI work for, Mr. Patel?
Senator, thank you for that question. The immediate report for the director of the FBI is into the Office of the Deputy Attorney General. Then that report is taken into the Office of the Attorney General and ultimately the White House and the chain of command there.
So the FBI works for the White House?
No, the FBI is a member of the Department of Justice and has been the longstanding application.
And who does the Department of Justice work for?
They're in the executive branch, as all members do at the White House.
Attorney General Bondi gave a different answer when I asked her the same question, that they work for the Constitution and the American people.
Yeah. That's a different, I mean, I hate Pam Bondi, but yeah, when you want to get into the chain of command. So this guy is a chain of command guy. Okay. He's a chain of command guy. Pam Bondi tried to give the, I don't think her answer was better.
President Trump's made clear in public statements he wants to use the FBI to persecute political adversaries. He's publicly said that folks ranging from Liz Cheney to Adam Kinzinger to former Vice President Harris should be investigated and criminally prosecuted. If President Trump were to order you to open an investigation into any of these individuals, let's say Vice President Harris, would you?
Senator, this question speaks directly to my ability to leave political bias and allow independent behavior to be the only guiding light.
That's basically what he just asked you. I don't know why we're repeating that. This is a lawyer trick.
Public defender, I learned that in the harshest of arenas. And any law enforcement investigation, if I'm confirmed at the FBI, will only be launched on the following qualification: a factual, articulable, legal basis to do so. The president has said publicly that he will allow the FBI to remain independent, and I have said as much as well.
But it goes against what the president has said, that he wants the FBI to do these very specific things and investigate and prosecute very specific people. But Cash, being a very good lawyer, Jesus, I wish I would have had, if I ever got in trouble as a public person, he would have defended the shit out of you. Okay.
So if FBI agents brought to you a factual legal basis, predication, and you are about to refer it to a prosecutor,
yes,
and you get a call from the White House saying, don't proceed. This is a major donor. This is someone close to the president. This is inappropriate. What would you do?
Simple. I think you answered it partially in your question. The line agents, the brick agents who are trained to bring investigations on behalf of the FBI will make that decision-making process, and they will only have my full support so long as it upholds absolutely every value of the Constitution. And that's it.
So your predecessor, I went back and looked, and I asked the same questions of Director Comey and Director Wray.
Okay, so the same questions. What were their answers?
Director Wray, quoting former Attorney General Bell, said you should be willing to resign, if necessary, over conduct if you're pressed to engage in it that's unethical, illegal, or unconstitutional. If pressed by the president, would you resign?
Senator, my answer is simply I would never do anything unconstitutional or unlawful, and I never have in my...
Again, this is a very good lawyer answer. He's not going to say, I would resign if somebody's pressuring me to do something illegal. I won't do anything illegal or unconstitutional. That's very specific. Why? Look at the things that Trump's proclamations are doing. Okay? Trump's proclamations are riding the line of legality and constitutionality, just skimming the surface, just right along the line where a majority of constitutional scholars right now agree with that interpretation of the Constitution. This is the problem with having a document that's open to interpretation. So his answer is, as long as his interpretation of the Constitution says, yes, that's constitutional, thereby it's legal, he's going to do it. But if his law knowledge and his constitutional knowledge says it's illegal, he won't do it.
My 16 years of government service.
Would you be willing to resign the post of FBI director if pressed and given no choice but to obey the order or resign?
Senator, I will always obey the law.
Does obeying the law require you to, as Attorney General Bell said...
That means even the law as it changes, and if it becomes unconstitutional, he's still going to obey it.
As FBI Director Wray said, refuse the order or resign.
I'm not familiar with the extent of the law that you're referring to, but my answer is simple in my 16 years of government service. We will simply follow the law. And I've done that in Obama Justice Department, in Republican Justice Departments, in the Obama military, in Republican civilian capacity. I have never once wavered from my constitutional oath of office.
Mr. Patel, your predecessors in this...
So he takes his oath to the Constitution seriously. And if the Constitution were amended, even if he thought that that was like an illegal amendment, he's going to follow it.
This role have been clear that they would be willing to resign if forced or directed to do something unethical or illegal. I'll proceed. One of your past statements that's concerned me, it's both a post on Truth
Here
Social
we go.
and something you said in a podcast, the Sean Morgan report, that your predecessor, Chris Wray, has broken the law. We need to prosecute him. The FBI should go after people like him. And the month before this, in July 2023, you said there should be a criminal referral for FBI Director Wray. If confirmed, are you going to follow through on these previous statements that Director Wray needs to be prosecuted?
Senator, this reminds me of the conversation you and I had, which I greatly appreciated. There is enough violent crime in this country and enough national security threats to this country that the FBI is going to be busy going forward preventing 100,000 overdoses, 100,000 rapes, and 17,000 homicides.
We agree that prosecuting violent crime should be the principal focus of the FBI. What I'm trying to get to, Mr. Patel, is a whole series of very troubling, to me, many other statements you've made about instead using it to pursue those who might be viewed as political opponents.
And as I told you in your office, I have no interest, no desire, and will not, if confirmed, go backwards. There will be no politicization at the FBI. There will be no politicization, that's a hard word to say, at the FBI. No retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as the FBI director. I told you that in your office, and I'll tell you that again today.
Thank you for that statement. As the co-chair of the Law Enforcement Caucus with Senator Cornyn, one of the things I've worked hard on, and I hope to continue being able to work hard on with this administration, is partnership between federal, state, and local law enforcement to pursue violent crime. You did say, as my colleague asked, and I look for a longer answer, that you want to close the...
Okay, here we go. He's going to re-ask Klobuchar's question. Listen carefully.
The FBI Bureau's headquarters on day one. How would shutting down the FBI headquarters impact its ability to prosecute violent crime and drug traffickers? How is that possibly a serious proposal? Mr.
Thank you for bringing that up and allowing me to answer.
First of all, look how he treats women. And look, he was asked the same question by Amy Klobuchar. And now he's grateful. Grateful.
It was to highlight the significantly greater point that I was actually making in that interview, which is well documented over and over again. 38,000 FBI employees, 7,500 FBI employees work in the Washington field office and Hoover building alone. If you increase that aperture just slightly to encompass the national capital region, that is 11,000 FBI employees work in the national capital region. A third of the workforce for the FBI works in Washington, D.C.
Now that is a weird statistic. Out of 38,000 employees nationwide, 11,000 of them work just in Washington, D.C. I'm not familiar with the structure or what they would be doing or why they need 11,000 people in that one singular location. Does that include trainees at Quantico? Does that, I don't know what that all means.
I am fully committed to having that workforce go out into the interior of the country where I live, west of the Mississippi, and work with sheriff's departments and local officers, and having one agent prevent one homicide, and having one agent in Washington prevent one rape. And I will do that over and over and over again because American people deserve the resources, not in Washington, D.C., but in the rest of the country.
And Mr. Patel, frankly, if that had been your statement, that would be something that would be defensible. It's the rest.
Right. So what he just explained there, right, makes sense. Like, why do we have this concentration of an excessive amount of people per capita in this one area? And why don't we utilize those people to go out into areas that need more people to go do their actual job? I don't disagree with that statement. And I 100% agree with Chris Coons' statement of, like, if that had been your answer originally, and if that had been your statement, that would have been acceptable, but that's not what we're talking about.
Rest of it, saying you're going to turn it into a museum of the deep state that causes repeated questions and concerns from people like myself. Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Before I call on...
And he doesn't ask him about that. Like, Chris, why didn't you ask him? Why make the snarky comment about turning it into a museum of the deep state? What was the point of that? Okay, let's go forward here. Okay, Josh Hawley is just going to... Blumenthal, it's just been so weak sauce lately. Like, oh, let's check out Miss Maisie. I'm Ted Cruz. I'm not the Zodiac. Ted Cruz. Ted.
Senator.
And how many years have you worked in particular in law enforcement and prosecution?
Entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator, I have not.
Mr. Patel, you...
What is the job of the FBI? And what will the FBI's
Why
role
is it
be
so hard
if
to
and when
fast
you are
forward
confirmed
this?
as its director?
The simple motto on the website of the FBI.
224.
Integrity, and I'm grateful for it.
Thanks.
Okay, there we go.
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, as part of my responsibility as a member of this committee, I asked the following two initial questions of all nominees before any of my committees. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator, I have not.
Mr. Patel, you have been a champion of the January 6th prison choir. You have stated that the choir's members were, quote, incarcerated as a result of their involvement in the January 6, 2021 protest for election integrity, end quote. And one of the choir members is Julian Cater. who pled guilty. He pled guilty to assaulting officers with a deadly weapon. On January 6th, he attacked Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray, and the next day, Officer Sicknick suffered from 2 strokes and died. Mr. Patel, was Mr. Cater protesting for election integrity? Yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
I'm not asking you who that is. I'm asking you whether, having heard the description of what he pled to, whether he was protesting for election integrity. Yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
That is not
statement-
responsive to my question. You're not willing to say that, but you were willing to describe this choir as consisting of people who were protesting for election integrity, and yet you testify you don't know them. We have heard already your book includes a list of 60 people who you think make up part of the executive branch deep state. Mr. Patel, if confirmed, do you plan to investigate President Trump's former FBI Director Christopher Wray? Yes or no?
I have no plans in going backwards. I have plans in safeguarding.
How about James Comey? Do you plan to investigate him?
Senator, every investigation will be subject to the same
Do you
legal
plan to
standards.
investigate James
different
Comey, who's
answer
on your
for
list?
I
Comey.
have no intentions of going.
Oh, now he's going to do the backwards thing again. But like at first, he wasn't saying no for sure.
Backwards.
How about Bill
every
Barr?
intention of using the Constitution.
How about Bill Barr? Do you plan to investigate him, who's on your executive branch deep state, and you say you're going to ferret out the deep state?
There's the names of the executive branch deep state that he posted. Okay. We've got, let me turn those off. Arkinson, Lloyd Austin, Brian Otten, James Baker, Bill Barr, Mr. Bolton, James Clapper, Clinton, of course, James Comey, Dibble, Mark Esper, Alyssa Farah, Fiona Hill, Curtis Hyde, Eric Holder, Robert Hur, Cassidy Hutchison, Nina Jankowicz, Mary McCord, Dennis McDonough, Mark Milley. Guys, did you hear that, oh God, Captain Greasy Hair, Drunky McDrunkerson wants to strip Milley of a star and demote him? What the fuck? Okay, these are all the people. Susan Rice? Susan Rice? This man has lost his damn mind.
No one
Yes or
that
no?
did not break the law will be investigated.
No answers to any of those. Okay.
Oh, we've got Biden on here, Loretta Lynch, who he just quoted, who he just name dropped as congratulating him, but she's on the list. Man.
Okay. Over 1 million Americans died as a
Thanks,
result of
thank you.
COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccine saved lives. Yet, less than a year ago, you promoted unregulated, unproven, unscientific supplements to reverse the
Right there. This is his spike protein recovery system. Myrna Detox. Reverse the vax and get healthy with Warrior Essentials.
effects of the vaccine on Truth Social. You told your
Are you
followers that these
you are
supplements
immune to the
would
propaganda,
detox.
but are you immune to the shedders? Like as if people are reptilian and like their skin is flying off to, you know, hurt people. Like this is, not only is this conspiratorial nonsense that people who get vaccinated are shedding somehow you're going to get the vaccine from them. I don't.
Them of the COVID-19 vaccine. Mr. Patel, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
Senator, do you know of any individuals who died as a result of complications from the vaccine?
Just, can you answer a question? No, because he's a lawyer.
Because I do.
Are you unable to answer my question, which is a straightforward, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
All of my financial disclosures have been made to this committee.
I would like to hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
This
those
is my third and last time I'm going to
disclosures
ask you
in
that
front of me.
question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered 1,300 pages.
No answer. And yet you spread dangerous misinformation.
I love how Maisie makes sure to get the no answer on the record every time that it happens. So that when people go back in history and they read these congressional hearings, they can see clearly this was not an answer.
Mr. Patel, the FBI is the primary agency responsible for investigating election-related crimes, including fraud and the denial of voting rights. So being able to separate fact from conspiracy theories around elections is an important thing for the FBI.
Look at him checking his watch. What a fucking arrogant shit. He just got a text or some shit and he had to check it while he's at a congressional hearing.
Director I have a question to see if you can do that. Mr. Patel, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no?
President Biden's election was certified. He was sworn in and he served as the president of the United States.
Once again, the people who are 100%
He just can't say no. He didn't win.
loyal to President Trump cannot answer that question. It is alarming that you want to be an FBI director who can answer a simple question, factual question. During a 2023 interview with Steve Bannon, you said, quote, "We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about the American citizens who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections." There's your quote. Do you still plan to come after the free press?
Not unless private citizens have been defamed. That's their right.
So as a private citizen, he was saying that.
You said that you would be going after the media.
There's the quote from one of his interviews with Steve Bannon. "We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you, whether it's criminally or civilly."
So I want to know whether you plan to do that, go after the free media.
I can't go after the media for other people. That's a decision they have.
So I would say that was a statement that you made that is pretty chilling to the free media. So I didn't hear a no that you would not go after them. You currently serve on the board of directors for the Trump Media Technology Group, which owns...
So let me get this straight. The FBI director is going to keep his board position on a Trump-run board? How is that not a fucking conflict of interest?
the social media platform Truth Social. If confirmed as FBI director, will you resign from this position and end all ties with the Trump Media and Technology Group?
Yes, Senator, as I've stated to you in writing.
Over the last 2 years,
he's so smug.
FBI has dedicated resources to Operation Not Forgotten, which works to address violent crime in Indian country. Mm-hmm. If confirmed as FBI director, would you continue the important work of Operation Not Forgotten?
I've made that commitment to many of your colleagues who have tribal issues and tribal crimes plaguing their communities, and I'll make that commitment to you as well, Senator.
My time is almost up.
Oh, here we go. Final question from Maisie. Are you ready?
But I would like to note that on the many questions asked about the choir, the J6 choir, it included at least 5 men who pled guilty to assaulting police officers. Mm-hmm. And these are the people whose record this nominee promotes. Thank you.
Okay. So then we have a big lunch break. They're finally back from lunch. I can't remember if anything good happened with Cory Booker, but no. Here we go. Let's get to the Adam Schiff. Ah, you're funny.
After illegals to follow the law and the orders issued by the White House, but also at the same time, every instance.
Well,
women out amongst either
with pending violations of their parole status. So if I'm confirmed
with it, Mr. Patel, why did you tell Steve Bannon and all his listeners that you did?
That's why
to go and find those individuals and make sure that our country is safe.
This is going to require collection to follow the law and the orders and deportation ordinances.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Senator Schiff.
Mr. Patel, early in this hearing, Senator Durbin asked you about the January 6th choir of inmates whose song you promoted, and here's what you said. I did not have anything to do with the recording. I did not have anything to do with the recording. Do you stand by that testimony, Mr. Patel?
Senator, what I said was I didn't do the recording.
You said you didn't have anything to do with the recording, which is interesting because here's what you told Steve Bannon on his podcast. So what we thought would be cool is if we captured that audio and then, of course, had the greatest president, President Donald J. Trump, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we went to a studio and recorded it, mastered it, digitized it, and put it out as a song now releasing exclusively on the War Room.
How did he not have anything to do it with this song when he completely produced the whole track?
We. If you had nothing to do with it, Mr. Patel, why did you tell Steve Bannon and all his listeners that you did?
That's why it says we, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and you're part of the we, right? When you say we, that includes you, doesn't it, Mr. Patel?
Not in every instance.
Well,
not in every. When you say, guys, did you know that now? This is the new definition of we. When I say we, it just means somebody else. There's no me and we. It means you guys. It means the other people. It means I wasn't there. I was absent. I'm with you in spirit, but I didn't do it.
That's new. So
Do you see Adam Schiff's face? Like he can't even.
when you said we, you didn't really mean you. Is that your testimony?
Not unless you have a new definition for the word we.
Oh, okay.
We includes you. It's talking about, like, that's the whole point of we. You're in that. We the people. So does that include the Constitution? We the people? It doesn't include other people? What's happening? What timeline are we in?
Okay, I always thought we included the person who pronounced the word, but maybe not. Well, you also said this, Mr. Patel. We were able to capture the recording thanks to their courageous singing, and we were able to take it to a studio. So let me ask you, Mr. Patel, after saying we took it to a studio, did you take it to a studio?
Me personally, no.
After you said that we digitized and recorded it and all that, did you take it to a studio, digitize and record it?
Me personally, no.
Okay, so you were lying to Steve Bannon and his audience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was using the proverbial we appropriately, as you've
The
identified.
royal we.
The royal we.
Oh, I see. And so you certainly promoted the hell out of it, though, didn't you?
I don't know what that means, but I promoted the heck out of raising money for families in need.
Oh, don't say
With
hell.
Promotions on social media. And
Don't say hell in a congressional meeting, Mr. Schiff. I promoted the heck out of it. You wash your filthy whore mouth out right now.
and saying you were going to get this to #1 on the billboards, right, Mr. Patel?
I think it did.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Isn't that great? People who violently attack police have a #1 song thanks to you, Mr. Patel. That's something to be really proud of. Now, you claim, Mr. Patel, you didn't know about any of these people in the choir. Is that right?
I did not know about the violent offenders, and I did not participate in any of the violence in and around January 6th.
Tell me, Mr. Patel, what due diligence did you do to find out who was in the choir before you promoted their beautiful music? These people who assaulted law enforcement. What due diligence did you do?
Senator, I didn't record it myself.
So you did no due diligence before you promoted this song by these violent felons. Is that what you're telling us?
Senator, I did not record that myself.
So you're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're
Here we go. Let's see if he even looks at him.
guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you.
He won't. He's not going to look at those Capitol Police officers. He's not going to make eye contact. He's a fucking coward.
To look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement.
Schiff is owning him so hard right now.
I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
You
my entire
glorified it
life,
in song,
and I did
Mr.
not make
Patel.
a single dime out of
In
it.
song. Well, let me
How about you ask them if I have their backs? Let's see about that
Let me ask you this, Mr. Patel. Let me ask you this. If an FBI director promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr.
Yes
Schiff,
or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you
Look at him look around at the rest of the people like, that's a fucking mic drop.
promoted a song of someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16
And
years
yet
of
you
government
did all these
service.
things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement. I decry violence against law enforcement. You could say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did that matters. Well, let me ask you about something else that you did, Mr. Patel. Did you claim that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago? Did you claim that?
In what proceeding?
To the public, ever. Did you tell anyone that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago?
From publicly available information, President Trump issued a declassification order on a variety of
No,
materials.
I'm just asking you, did you tell the public, did you tell anyone, did you make the claim that Donald Trump had declassified those hundreds of classified documents that were at Mar-a-Lago? Did you make that?
That was a claim that Trump said, that he had already declassified them, so it wasn't a big deal, that he just had them in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago.
From my best of my recollection, I said President Trump issued a declassification order to a large number of documents.
Yeah, and were you present when he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents?
Senator, I'm not saying he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents. I said President Trump declassified a large number of documents, and I would hope this committee and the rest of Congress would want to get those documents to the American people.
Mr. Patel, before a president or anyone declassified documents, wouldn't you want to know whether making the public would cause sources to be killed? Wouldn't you want to know that before you just declare they're all declassified? Wouldn't that be the responsible thing for a president to do?
It was the responsible thing for us to do. That's why we declassified the Nunes memo.
And did Donald Trump
and no one died.
And did Donald Trump ever?
And no one died. We say that sometimes to our kids if they're like, oh, this happened in school. I'm like, but did you die? But that's not appropriate for like a fucking congressional hearing. What?
Ask any of the agencies who produced those documents whether declassifying them would put people's lives at risk. Did he ever do that to your knowledge, Kash Patel?
I don't know that he didn't. Do you?
No, that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem, isn't it? So let me just ask, Mr.
Jesus Christ. I don't know that he didn't. Yeah, nobody knows.
Chairman, if you would, Mr. Patel has said he has no problem. He would support the release of his grand jury testimony in that case. I would ask you, Mr. Chairman, ranking member, to join me in requesting, with Mr. Patel's approval, the release of those grand jury transcripts. And I would also ask Mr. Patel whether you support the release of Volume 2 as it pertains to you of the Special Counsel's report. Any reference to you in the report, to your truthfulness, will you support the release to this committee of those sections of Volume 2 of Special Counsel's report?
I support following the law and providing whatever information the law requires.
But you said to the Wall Street Journal that...
Again, there's that lawyer answer.
You support transparency. Here's your chance, Mr. Patel. You support release of that to this committee, yes or no?
Your time's up. Before I call on Senator Tillis,
See,
I have letters
so he's
here
not going to give an
from law
answer if he
enforcement
doesn't
groups
have to.
representing 310,000 officers supporting Mr. Patel's
He learned that in court.
Nomination, and
He learned that in court, guys. Grassley is going to ask some pop questions. Oh, good. Sheldon's back. I'm going to skip Ted. I don't care what Ted Cruz says. Oh, she's very hot for teacher. Yeah. So you guys got the flavor. See, now I hadn't watched that interaction between him and Schiff, I'm going to be honest. But in my mind, while I was listening to his testimony, specifically his answer to Chris Coons. Ooh, I'm sorry. My hair is looking good today, guys. I'm proud. I'm sorry. But his answer to Chris Coons, I found exceptionally interesting, and also Chris Coons' response. That the clarification, and you guys can go watch that whole podcast to see the whole conversational interaction that he has there, where he states that, he's going to, basically get everybody out of the J. Edgar Hoover building. 1 second. And then he's going to, close it as a deep state museum, because basically he doesn't want anybody in desks in this building. He wants everybody out there doing things for the communities at large. Okay. I don't have a disagreement with that. But when I was listening to it, like and then watching him is a totally different thing. Hearing the words, and this is why it's important to watch these things live and see the person's body language and not just listen, right? Because sometimes written words and even spoken words, right, can give you a different impression than when you watch the whole picture. Okay. Because in my mind, I was driving and I'm listening. I had it on my CarPlay. I'm listening to this testimony. Okay. And in my mind, I was thinking, this is very interesting. What if this guy and his bro-douche promotion of all these things and all this other stuff, what if he's really like, I'm here to protect America? Like, he did the correct things under Obama. He did correct things under Trump. He's a follow orders kind of guy. He follows the letter of the law. So my thought was, what if this whole thing, his whole persona, all this stuff, what if all that's a rope-a-dope, right? Like he's just literally luring in the MAGA crowd by saying the right things, promoting the right things, just skirting that line just enough to get himself in this position. Because maybe he actually cares about the Constitution. And then now watching all of that back, I'm like, no. Watching his body language as he repeats these talking statements and as he confronts people tells me everything I need to know. This man is fully a part of the MAGA cult. He's going to be a good soldier. So I retract my earlier thoughts that I hadn't voiced out loud until just now. But thank you. Thank you, Jennifer, for recognizing my moment of self-love publicly. I'm working on that, guys. I'm working on that. Let's get to your comments and questions. And once again, I will remind you, let me just look over here. That's the wrong, guys, I have the wrong things up. Here we go. The channel's doing great, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, even though I made the mistake yesterday of helping me build up this Teen Time channel right here with you organically together. We're building up. We are up to 763 subscribers. To reach the next level where I can turn on YouTube ads and all that stuff, I've got to get up to 1,000 subscribers. And I need more watch out. Well, actually, we're at the 4,000 watch hours, guys. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. So we need, 300 more subscribers. So if you're out there and you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, share these videos, share ohnomerica around with your friends. If you want to become a member, those are available now. You got to say like the stream, all of that kind of good stuff. But yeah, there's, I'm trying to make everything available. You guys can super chat. This is not a cult. You can buy a membership, and also my store is linked. I'll bring up my store so you guys can see it. Because it's cute. It's cute, y'all. It's cute. So definitely go shop, get something fun for yourself. There's water bottles like this, which is a very good water bottle. I love it. It does keep things incredibly cold. Let me go to the Sharesies screen. Here we go. Here is the stuff, right? And it is ohnomerica, MERICA.com. Come and check that out. We've got our, Samuel Jackson liberal line, the Regina George, which I am wearing, in 2 different styles. We've got, of course, our eagle on everything. Okay. I have that mug. I just had my coffee in it this morning. So come check it out. Get a sticker. Whatevs, guys. There's also, if you guys would prefer not doing that, if you go to my links here, you can do Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. That's all there. You can find me on TikTok and also on the X, aka Twitter. Okay, there we go. Self-promotion done. Accomplished. Let's go back. And let's get your questions and comments here. Let's start with questions today. Let's spice it up. That's very possible. I just talked to my mom who is in California, and she said her eggs were cheaper. So yeah. Oregon eggs are hella expensive right now, y'all. How do we get this fucker impeached? That's a long process. We saw 2 impeachments that totally failed. And now with a completely MAGA-controlled Congress, I don't even think impeachment will be brought to the floor. So the answer is we don't. We don't. If I get a picture of an orange sitting on a pile of poop, will you cover his face? He's not good enough for my butt. I should get like a Cheeto or something. I'll work on that. Because guys, we're going to have to watch a lot of Trump. I don't know what to tell you. I'll try and download the videos and then like edit the pieces together so that when I'm playing a clip, it's just a little more palatable. But I want you, that's kind of my point though. Like seeing Kash Patel's facial expressions and hearing his actual voice say the words without alteration or things like that, that tells you the whole story. When we kind of like goofify it a little bit, and I get it, you lose the full flavor of that, right? It's like making a soup with just water and ingredients and then no spice, no salt, no nothing. It's awful, right? So we need to, get the bones of the carcass, make our broth with the mirepoix and the bay leaves, and then you drain all that out, and then you use that stock and then build the soup, right? When we did our Hanukkah party, I made the matzo ball soup stock from scratch, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. I'm not gonna lie. It was really good. But guys, homemade stock is amazing. But this is what I'm saying. This is the difference. And in today's world with AI taking over, and I love AI. Listen, dear robot AI overlords, I love you. Thank you. Please be kind. We really need to see things with our own eyes, the whole story. And sometimes those are uncomfortable things to see, but it is important that we see it when it happens, how it happened, and what they exactly said in that moment, and how they looked and expressed that fully. Yeah. Merely asks, is it a prerequisite of American politics that all politicians have to be coffin dodgers? I really want to say our Congress is too old. That's my personal opinion, but I do not like the word coffin dodgers. I know that has become a quirky way to make fun of old people. Death is coming for all of us. Every single day you wake up, you're a coffin dodger. That's that's just a fact. Nobody knows when you're going to die, right? That's not, I mean, might be preordained somewhere in somebody's ledger, but I don't know about that. But it's like literally, I think it's just derogatory. A lot of these people, honestly, have health issues based on their age that is sometimes inevitable. And I don't think people like that should be holding an office in Congress. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't like the word coffin dodgers. I'll just, I've said that before. I'll say it again. She did not give that, but he had already planned to ask it. And I thought it was brilliant how he got the answers there. Let's go to comments here. Yeah, it has been rough. Yes, it has. We're in week 2, guys. Yes, several FBI leaders were demoted or reassigned. Yes. Yep. The cheapest eggs in Cali are $8. Okay, well, that's still $3 less than I'm paying. Eggs are cheaper at Trader Joe's. We do have one. We have several, so I'll check there. But like, guys, when I buy eggs and it's sitting in here next, I have a second refrigerator down here just for the extra food we have to feed 4 children. Okay. We buy those huge packs that's like 5 dozen. Now you can get a smaller one that I think is like 3 dozen at Safeway. But yeah, I buy like 3 of those every 2 weeks. That's how many eggs we eat. We got to figure that out because that's too many eggs. But anyway, that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. Yeah, isn't that great, Merely? How they just removed the Constitution from the White House website? And if you guys don't believe me, go to the White House. Let's go. We'll do it live. I'm going to take your comment down, Merely. Okay. Thank you for that comment, though. We're going to go to whitehouse.gov. Here it is. Why is this the picture? America is back. Every single day I will be fighting for you. With every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. Okay, so we're going to search. We'll go search. Constitution. Okay. Where did it go? Where's the Constitution? Why don't we have, there used to be a page. See, and if we take out this S and the equals, because there should just be a page for the Constitution, like there used to be, that's what happens. Why is the Constitution of the United States of America not available on the White House's page? That should be troubling for every American citizen right there. That should be, that's the thing of nightmares, guys. Our Constitution is not publicly accessible that way. You can still Google it and find it, right? Now. But we'll see if the Library of Congress removes it. I mean, like, this is scary shit, guys. This is scary shit. Oh, 100% he's trying to fake empathy. He doesn't have any. He has none. I don't know about another helicopter crash, honey. I will have to check into that. I hadn't heard about any other one. Yeah, this is him going off script. The board section was the script, correct? Yeah. Trump pushed out the current FAA administrator on day one, who had been approved by both parties a year ago. It was like, bye, Felicia. And then look what happened immediately after that. A mysterious crash that totally doesn't look like it was bound to happen, and the helicopter didn't take evasive measures. Did I ever see Pushing Tin? I don't think so. No, I have to look that up. I know 3 brilliant people who ended up being architects and physicists who flunked out of air traffic controller school. Yeah, it's fucking hard, guys. You got to be really good at maths. Really good. Yeah, sounds like the people who write for him always include certain words and lines into what he's saying. It's kind of hypnotism for his cult following. Oh, yeah. God bless those souls, blah, 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 blah. 100%, Katie. This is President Darvo. Yes. Yeah, why are they blaming the jet? It had nothing to do with the jet. The jet was in its landing path, right? The jet had the right of way. I mean, if we're going to look at this as like a four-way stop that like a crash happens in the middle of the intersection, the jet had the right of way. It's just, yeah. It's nuts. Are we forgetting the fact that it was a Republican president when 9/11 happened and the absolute shit show that was the military? Yeah. I don't forget that. Bushy Jr. did that to us. No, nothing he's saying has anything to do with the crash, except for that first sentence that he factually stated that a Black Hawk helicopter crashed into a commercial jetliner. That was it. End of factual statements. Yes. Yeah, he has to mention the Russians because he wants to get back on Putin's good side. But he's already going to get back on Putin's good side by, nominating his number one American puppet, Tulsi Gabbard. His number two American puppet is Jill Stein, and she's not. She's not going to be part of the administration. She's not attractive to him. Yeah, I still have to bring this up again. He is a passenger princess. He absolutely is. Honey, don't freak out too much yet. Don't let your adrenal system get overloaded. Okay? I get you, though. I get you. Being prepared is always better than not being prepared. But, don't let the fear take over. Okay? Talk about hacking. My therapy reminders keep trying to send me to Yakima Valley for my appointments. That's a far stretch to travel from Georgia. Yeah, I don't know why they would be trying to send you to Washington State. That's odd. That's odd. Jesus H. Christmas. It isn't. It's a fucking runaway train. If it's anything goes world now, yeah, it absolutely is. We are in the whatever timeline. Sure, some new president comes in and they impose their will, but he is a narcissist, cruel, insensitive, and off. Yeah. To put it mildly, somebody just dropped something upstairs. I'm going to go check on that in a minute. Thank you for the anniversary wishes. Thank you. Thank you, Gunna Fawcett. Judy Chang, yes, we do need to see the facial expressions, unfortunately. It's very important. It's part of human interaction, guys, to not only hear the words that somebody says, but to see the way that they say it and their body language, because our bodies also express our intention, our feelings, and reveal more truth about the words that we're saying, whether we are sincere or not in the expression of those words. Yeah. Yep. That's all it took was one little mustache man. And instead of a mustache man, we have a really bad comb over man. It's a brilliant 90s film, Pushing Tin. Okay, I think, yeah, that was like what popped up in my mind, but I couldn't, yeah, I'll have to check it out. Oh, sorry. It only took Little Mustache Man 1 year to dismantle democracy in Germany. Yeah. Yeah. 1 year, guys. First, he came from the media, right? So people couldn't get accurate news. It's exactly what's happening here. Trump has started his fake news campaign since before 2016 when he ran the first time. He started that back in 2008 when he started the birtherism against Obama. He has been at this since, I think, actually, to speak accurately on it, like late 2005, early 2006. Nearly 20 years, Trump has been slowly sowing these seeds to get himself to where he is now. He used to be a Democrat, guys. He was a hardcore Democrat. Pro-choice, all that stuff. And he even said very blatantly that, watch, I'll just become a Republican and they'll believe everything I say. And they fucking did. Oh, okay, guys. Well, that's all we have to do today. We'll see what comes up next. What's today? Thursday? Yes. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll be back tomorrow later in the day. I'm going to check my schedule. I have to check my schedule. Guys, listen. This is a text I just got from some rando. I'm begging. Sign the petition to demand the Senate vote no on Robert F. Kennedy. What? How it? At least it wasn't asking for money. Guys, I want to say this. As a very angered Democrat, if one more email, text, carrier pigeon, whatever, comes from the goddamn DNC to ask me for $1 fucking for one thing, shut the fuck up. My taxes pay your fucking income. Do your job. Do your job. Do your job. You're elected. Do your job. Do your job. Do your job. Like, I'm fucking over it. I'm over it. We're in week 2, guys. And it's nuts. We are in the nut house. This should just be the flag of America right now. This should be our national flag. That's it. That's America in a nutshell right now, guys. We got to sort our way through this. The ACLU is filing a gajillion lawsuits. We got to keep our eyes on those and make sure they go through. I was checking my calendar. Apologies for the massive amount of ADHD that just happened right then. Tomorrow. Yeah, I should be able to come back tomorrow in the afternoon. I don't know what time yet, but we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Thank you to my mods, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Oh No, America. I'm your host, Nora Ames. Hopefully this day has been informative, fun, and given you a little sparkle of America. Thank you to my mods, as always, for keeping things cool, chill. And if you guys want some of that sweet, sweet merch, hit us up at ohnomerica.com.